So there. Justin Fields had a great night last night, and the Bears finally won. And you can't say he wasn't the problem. He never was the problem. Oh, no. I'm going to say that and then some. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming, already in progress. Thank you, Cole.
On your mark, get set. Let's go.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up?
Good morning. Kevin Durant, you should have left California.
This Bronx will upset me in having to bring this teenage idiot from Wisconsin into a sports conversation. Are you really surprised that the Cowboys are giving up on Ezekiel Elliott?
Whoa. Hell no. Well, no one cares about baseball.
Bitch, are you for real?
We got some sports to talk and bring you into your weekend the right way. Good morning. Doggone sweatshirt. Welcome to the fabulous, fantastic football Friday edition of Snowman in the Morning. Glad to have y'all with us. I'm going to work on this here as I am representing my wife's team, the Indianapolis Colts. Man, we got much to get to. So the Bears finally won a game. Whoopee. Magic Johnson criticizes the Redskins. Duly warranted. We got our picks. A legend has left us in the form of Dick Butkus and to the Butkus family, and I loved watching old footage of Dick Butkus. He passed away yesterday. We do this and talk honest football for you because for a long time, Dick Butkus was one of the radio voices of the Chicago Bears, joining Hub Arkush and Wayne Larrabee when they were on WGN radio and later WMAQ radio. And I love Butkus. Butkus told it like it was. All right. So in that tradition, I'm going to do the same. Here's the whip around presented by Fanatics, and it's an abbreviated version thereof. And we started in the nation's capital where the Bears buried the Washington Redskins 40-20. Whoopee. I would say I didn't watch a down of that game last night, but I'd be lying because when alerts came flying across my screen of Justin Fields completing passes to DJ Moore, who I still think is trash. DJ Moore is trash. Justin Fields is worse. Now, I'm going to get a lot of flack from Bears fans for saying it, but hey, I trust my eyes. Let me read you the numbers from Justin Fields from last night's game. 15 of 29, 282 yards. He threw 4 touchdowns. And I really don't care. Until the Bears solve a lot more problems than Justin Fields being one of them, I'm not paying attention to him. Meanwhile, Sam Howell threw the ball 51 times. There was no intensity from the Redskins last night. So says Magic Johnson, and so say I. He threw for 388 yards. He threw 2 touchdowns plus a pick. Your starting quarterback threw the ball 51 times. The Bears defense got to Sam Howell 5 times. The Redskins defense got to Justin Fields 3 times. Let me read that stat line again from Justin Fields. 15 for 29. Really? In a quarterback-driven league, you can't complete no better than over 50% of your passes? Really? Now, I admire them taking shots down the field. And DJ Moore finally showed that he has a pair. But I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed with Justin Fields. I'm not impressed with this Bears offense, nor will I ever be impressed with them or the Redskins until one word happens for both teams. Consistency. And right now, when it comes to Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears, I see none. Okay? To spell it the way my grandson spells it best, N-U-N-N-E. None. Matter of fact, Justin Fields, sit down. I totally didn't plan this, but I'm going to go ahead and go with it anyway. Justin Fields, I applaud you for your performance last night, but I'd still say you suck as a quarterback because on the season you haven't completed you've completed over 50% of your passes, but in a quarterback-driven league, you haven't done much else. You finally got a 300-yard game last week against the Denver Broncos. You finally got your first win of this season against the Washington Redskins. Let me pose a question to Bears fans and Justin Fields fans, and the question is quite simple. What the hell else has he done? Has he not made the adjustment from Ohio State to the NFL? You know how loaded that Ohio State team was? You know how unloaded this Bears team is? I am not impressed, nor will I ever be impressed. Period. I remember what Bears football was like. And frankly, this ain't it. Let me say that again for all you Bear fans that want to claw my throat out. I ain't impressed, nor will I ever be impressed when it comes to one Justin Fields or the Chicago Bears because of a lack of consistency. There's a lack of consistent quarterback play from Justin Fields, the quarterback who you trusted and continue to trust to run your offense. Give me a break. Give me a break. And now the Bears get 10 days off to figure this out. Well, guess what? They ain't going to figure it out. The draft and more tank bowls are next for the Chicago Bears. The draft and more tank bowls are next for Justin Fields. You want to highlight, and people want to say to me, I heard this during the preseason, and I heard it last night, and I heard it into this morning. My wife pointed this out to me. There are people that were happy that DJ Moore, yes, that DJ Moore, who caught 8 for 230 yards and 3 touchdowns on 10 targets. I don't care about the damn targets. I just care about the receptions and the yards. These analytics need to go. That's a rant for a later time. I still am laughing at the Bears for mortgaging their future, can't talk this morning, for DJ Moore. DJ Moore, who finally showed that he has a set of cojones and actually played winning football last night. He never did it in Carolina, and he ain't going to do it in Chicago. I said it. I said it aloud. And I'm going to continue to say it aloud until I see different, until I see consistency, until I see a team that gets so pissed off that they come together as a team. Do they have the potential? Yes, they do. Every team in the NFL does, including the Chicago Bears, including the Carolina Panthers, including the Minnesota Vikings. But the Vikings have a quarterback problem of their own, and his name is Kirk 2 Chainz Cousins. Need I say more? Khalil Herbert, 10 carries, 76 yards. Let me ask you something, Justin Fields. Justin Fields carried the ball 11 times, 57 yards. Justin, why are you running the ball 11 times? Why are you falling into the trap of Josh Allen? And the Bills seem to have figured it out. Just stop. Please. Stop. RC on Hoops and Caitlin Clark in Iowa. He says the Bears offense finally exited the Stone Age. No, they have not. Because if they exit the Stone Age, they'd have run for 200 yards. You want to know what the West Coast offense is predicated upon? Running the doggone football. And yes, playmaker, I watched the game. Yes, the Bears running backs are all beat to hell. I know that. But you should have been prepared for this situation. And more to the point, you shouldn't have let David Montgomery walk. Your multiple-time 1,000-yard rusher walked, and y'all let him walk, and you put the offense in Justin Fields' hands, which was a colossal error. And I will continue to say it until I see more consistency. And right now, I don't see it. I won't see it. And I don't think I have plans to see it. Until the top of the food chain changes, the Bears will be stuck in the Stone Age. They'll be stuck in the past. And they will be stuck, buried, with a foot put in their asses for mediocrity. Get the hell up. Now, find the lies. Back in a minute.
Attention sports fans, looking for the ultimate gear and apparel to show your team pride? Look no further than Fanatics, the #1 destination for sports enthusiasts. Visit snowmanmultimediasports.com today and shop a wide selection of officially licensed merchandise from your favorite teams and players. From jerseys to hats to accessories to collectibles, Fanatics has it all. Don't miss out on the chance to elevate your game day experience. Head over to snowmanmultimediasports.com/fanatics and gear up like a true fan with Fanatics. Officially licensed everything. Are you ready to upgrade your coffee game? Prepare for an invasion of flavor with Invader Coffee. It's the caffeinated elixir that fuels champions, the blend that pushes boundaries. Whether you're battling deadlines or exploring uncharted territories, Invader Coffee has your back. Join the invasion at invadercoffee.com and taste the difference for yourself. Use the code SNOWMAN for 15% off your first order. Invader Coffee, veteran owned.
Hey, Eagles fan. Join my man Cool McCain and a host of others as they break down every single game, every single week in an objective manner, and also from a fan's perspective as well. Remember, this cast feels just like you. Nobody likes you. And you don't care. Fly, Eagles, fly. Eagles Elite Podcast. Every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and other podcast outlets.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
I keep forgetting to push the button when I do that. Welcome back to the fabulous, fantastic Football Friday edition of Snowman in the Morning. It's brought to you in part by BetUS, BetUS.com, where the game begins, and by Invader Coffee. And Mr. McCoffee, I have a bone to pick with you, and I mean this playfully. Speaking of which, he was the first one in. He said, "Good morning, Snow Crew. I can't believe Wize's pick actually panned out. Nor can I." Boo, boo, the coach says Playmaker. If y'all don't follow the Playmakers blog network on YouTube, I suggest you do so in all your podcast outlets. I had a fabulous time breaking down last week's game, the Colts and the Rams, with him. I hope to be back on, and he's on every Monday and Tuesday. The Bears, and they kicked Butte for once. I have so much more of it. And again, our rest in peace and rest in power and paradise. Rest in peace, power, and paradise for Dick Butkus, a legendary football career. He also could have been one of the greatest porn stars ever with that name. You're stupid. I hate you, RC, for that. Of course, Cole Sports has to make his appearance. That man, a perfect passer rating last night. It was not a perfect passer rating. Get out of here with that. And I'm going to continue to hate until I see more consistency. So, yeah. A hot seat, not even 10 minutes into the show. Doggone right. Doggone right. I'll explain why later on. He all over the place already. Leave Fields alone. He won a game. No. No, no, and hell no. Bears offense finally exited the Stone Age. Don't you tell that lie. As we're inside of the feedback zone presented by Fanatics, and the new Snowman Multimedia store is up. Go to snowmanmultimediasports.com, click on store. Got some great products there already. Tell Kyle Shanahan to give you a break. Hey, Playmaker, I'll do you one better. Why don't you tell the Wunderkick Sean McVay to give you a break? You want to tease me? I'll tease you in return. Sig Diggy joining us from Norway. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to you, my brother. All the Bears running backs are injured. Did you watch the game? Yep. They got beat to hell, and they're going to continue to get beat to hell until they get that franchise running back again. You know why they won yesterday, Snow? They were fired up to win for Butkus. Okay, I can see that. I'll grant that. I'll give you that. Here's my question. Will they continue to do it? My answer so far, no. The Bears have not exited the Stone Age, says my partner, Cole Sports. Sick Diggy greeted the Playmakers blog network as well as Cole Sports. I agree with the Montgomery part. Absolutely. They let him walk. They let a multiple 1,000-yard rusher walk. Stupid. Stupid. As my wife would say best. I love you, Jody. Will the Bears ever get it right? Until the top of the food chain changes, until the McCaskies let go and get some football people in there that fix this doggone thing, hell no. Wait a minute. I did that wrong. I did that wrong. Where is this button? Sick Diggy posed a question, and there's only one person that can answer it. And the person that can answer it is this man. Hey, Bishop, will the Bears ever get it right?
Hell no. To the no, no, no. Hell to the no. Hell to the no. To the no, no, no.
There's your answer. Will the Bears ever get it right? Man, please. On the Hot Seat is brought to you by Slam Hard Barbecue. Tastes so good, you better kiss and tip your waitress. Damn straight. I kissed her this morning before she left for her doctor's appointment. Playmakers blog network greets Sick Diggy and Funky Soul Thirst Quencher. Fight the thirst with Funk and Soul. There you go, Sick. Salute to you for those ads. And RC is back again. Sick Diggy, Cole Sports in the year 3031, when Earth has flamed and scorched over and only a few scraps and small portions of humanity remains, the Bears will be explosive and formidable. Till then, don't count on it. Don't count on it. Seriously, Larry is here with us. He says, good morning. Good morning to you. And grats to the Philadelphia Phillies. I hope y'all beat the daylights out of the Atlanta Braves. Yeah, I'm firing shots this morning. 8-time Pro Bowler in 9 years, the great Dick Butkus, and I hate to put the word late in it, but the late, great Dick Butkus, number 51, one of the best to ever do it. Had to do a Dunkin' run, but I got an order of Invader Coffee coming later today. Hey, what's the flavor you're ordering, Ryan? What is the flavor? And I got to put a link to that on the website today. I'm off on a Friday. So that means me and Playmaker are going to tape an interview that will air on Sunday. I'll tell you more about that. David Montgomery walked, and now he's going to bite the Bears in the ass on a divisional rival as the Detroit Lions walk their asses to the division title for the first time since 1991. Sick Diggy again. The frustrations of Snowman Multimedia brought to you by Bum Leg Orthopedic. The only thing to keep Aaron Rodgers off the ayahuasca. Oh, my leg. Oh, my leg. Oh, my leg. That ain't the only thing, but I can't say that. But I can't say the rest of it here. Snowman in the morning on one TV. First take on the other TV. You may as well turn the other one off. Turn the other one off because it's doing you a disservice. Drop a text line. Drop a text in the new text line at 502-467-9619. That's going to become an 800 number very, very soon. All right, I have some business to take care of very, very quickly. Sam Shady is on the way, and Cole Johnson is sitting in the background. I know he's going to push a couple of buttons. Who are we talking about here? My wonderful executive producer and one of my best friends, of course. All right, let's get. Where'd it go? It's not here. Okay, the heck with it. I'll use my soundboard. Doggone it. And I'm in the process of changing some things around in my office and making sure everything is where it needs to be, because Jody and I are making some changes here in the office. Sam Shady coming in just a few moments. But it's now time for my power rankings presented by BetUS.com. BetUS.com, where the game begins. Shut up. We start at number 10, and we give you the Baltimore Ravens. This Ravens team should be becoming scary very, very soon, because it just seems like they are getting their act together. They're getting their act together, and I just hope they stay healthy in doing so. Ravens at 10. At number 9, you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Ballad of Baker Mayfield, who has started his revenge tour at 3-1. How about that, in the immortal words of the late, great Mel Allen? I don't know. Can he keep this up? I asked the same question about the Bears when I talked about consistency. Can Baker Mayfield keep this up for the Buccaneers? Well, it's who they have to lean on right now. Buccaneers at 9. Number 8, the Miami Dolphins, who took a hard fall in my rankings. They were at 4 last week. They're at 8 right now because they got punched in the mouth, M-O-U-F, mouth, when it came to facing the Buffalo Bills, who will continue to rule that division until the Miami Dolphins figure out a way to beat them. Dolphins at number 8. At number 7, you got the Seattle Seahawks, a surprise entry into my top 10. Seattle's going to get a couple of tests later on this year, but the Seahawks starting to figure it out after they got socked in the mouth by the Los Angeles Rams. Seahawks at number 7. At number 6, you got the Dallas Cowboys. Their defense is otherworldly. Their offense leaves a lot to be desired, and they're going to get the test of their lives and the test of their season come this Sunday night. At number 5, you have the Detroit Lions, the soon-to-be Central Division champions, or NFC North Division champions, to say it correctly. Look at this Lions team coming together after they got beaten by the Seattle Seahawks, and the Seahawks have entered the top 10. Detroit has started otherworldly because they beat Kansas City in their house. That alone gets them in the rankings. Detroit at number 5. Speaking of the Chiefs, you got the world champions at number 4. They are missing a running game. I love you, Isaiah Pacheco, but they are missing a very powerful running game, and they had to struggle against the New York Jets. That should tell you everything you need to know about the Chiefs. And until they find a running game and balance in that offense in which Patrick Mahomes is heading for career lows in all of his categories, I don't see the Chiefs going no higher than 4. Of course, this is only week 5, and that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. The immortal words of Dennis Miller. At number 3, you have the NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles. DeAndre Swift needs to be used more often. You got DeAndre Swift for a reason. You have to use him. You used him against the Minnesota Vikings. You got to use him this weekend. When we do our picks, I'll explain what's going on with the Eagles. Or when Sam comes on, we'll talk about the Philadelphia Eagles and a whole lot more. At number 2, you got the Buffalo Bills, who absolutely pounded the Miami Dolphins into the dirt. And that's exactly where they will stay until the Dolphins figure out what the hell's going on. And y'all already know who the number 1 team is. It is my beloved San Francisco 49ers, and they're going to get the test of their season this Sunday night when they host the Dallas Cowboys at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara. So those are my top 10. So those are my top 10 for this week. Whom do you think should be in your top 10? What is your top 10 rankings? Fine. Shut up. I'll yell at him later. Back after this.
We'll see a pickup sometime on the right side, possibly.
Montana looking, throwing in the end zone. Caught it! Dwight Clark!
Hey, Eagles fan. Join my man Cool McCain and a host of others as they break down every single game, every single week in an objective manner, and also from a fan's perspective as well. Remember, this cast feels just like you. Nobody likes you. And you don't care. Fly, Eagles, fly. Eagles Elite Podcast. Every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and other podcast outlets.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. You kids on the block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Pick'ems. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube. Papi J.
You got the option to cry for the government. You got the option to protest. You got the option to keep buying, but this is also an option.
Wize El Jefe.
We're the first tech geeks. We're the first gamers. We're the first everything. Everything. Like Gen X's, we are the ones.
BS3 Network proudly presents the crew from the New York boroughs who never wants that smoke. Nah, they want that fire. Papi J and Wize El Jefe, Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Welcome back to this fabulous, fantastic Football Friday edition of Snowman in the Morning. First one in October. Glad to have y'all with us. And since it's Friday and since it's a Football Friday, I welcome this man. Let's have some fun with the Shady Football Friday report presented by Invader Coffee. And on the Invader Coffee guest line, the one, the only Sam Shady, the man in charge of the Shady Sports Network. Good morning, Sam. Great to talk to you, my friend.
Good morning, Brian. Glad to be back for another week. We got a lot to talk about today.
Boy, do we ever. And we're going to start where you wanted to touch last week, but didn't get a chance to, and that is the USFL and the XFL are coming together.
Yeah, by all accounts, basically the USFL and the XFL have announced an intent to merge. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that it's 100% set in stone at this point, but it sounds like it's very much on its way. Right now, it's being submitted to the regulatory board to make sure it's, in compliance with government rules and regulations. So it looks like we're going to see the biggest spring football league, outdoor-wise anyway, in at least my lifetime.
How exciting is this for both leagues and the players, coaches, and staffs within?
Well, it's, to be completely honest, Brian, it's a little bittersweet. Basically, right now, all the rumors are that if this comes together, most likely we will be losing some teams. I've heard as many as 6. We could go all the way down to 10 teams, or I've heard as few as 2. I'm hoping that we don't lose any, but that's an ideal situation that I just don't know is possible at this point.
Yeah.
Part of the reason this is happening is reality struck both of these leagues, and they kind of saw the light at the end of the tunnel and realized that it was going to take a long while for them to build up the audience that they needed to truly turn a profit that made sense for the investment, basically, is what it boiled down to. So this is a way for both leagues to cut costs while improving their footprint and hopefully drawing more casual fans, because at this point we'll be talking about a 12 or 14 team league with teams across the country, hopefully located in cities where they're playing in front of fans. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this all works out.
Now, should this merger happen and should it be approved, how soon will this come to fruition?
Well, from everything that all the reports are that this would be for the 2024 season. So basically it'd be immediately, more or less.
Now, you said that some teams and cities may be on the chopping block. If you've heard anything, who would be the first to be on the chopping block?
Well, one big fact that's kind of been circulating, or I don't want to say it's a fact because nobody really knows right now, but one of the rumors that's been circulating is that the teams that are not currently residing in cities will be most likely to be chopped. So right now you got Vegas over in the XFL that does not have a home stadium currently that could be getting the chop. And then, you look at the USFL and you've got as many as 5 teams that could go away from the USFL if they so chose. So maybe that's where that 6 number comes from. And then the other 10 teams that have a home stadium currently, they go ahead and they continue. But I would guess that this is more USFL teams, or at least an even amount of teams existing in the long run, because it sounds like this was an XFL initiated conversation to begin with.
And which of these two leagues do you think would benefit more, if not the most, from this merger. And I know there are so many factors that are going into this, but when you take a look at this, when Sam Shady, our football aficionado, takes a look at this, who does this benefit more? Does this benefit the USFL or the XFL or both?
I truly believe it would be a beneficial situation for both leagues. The XFL came in and they were really, at first, willing to spend a lot more money than the USFL was. The USFL had kind of done their research. They had looked into the other leagues that had existed in the past, and they realized that the ones that were more successful were the ones that were more budget friendly. So they tried to pinch their pennies wherever they could, which in a lot of ways cut down on the fan experience in terms of watching on TV or getting the attendance that they had hoped, because of the fact that they weren't necessarily spending the money on ticket staff and sales, such like that, as well as they weren't really spending a enormous amount of money on advertising either. Primarily it was, you'd see it on Fox and NBC promoted by their own broadcast partners, but not really, a whole lot elsewhere. It went all the way down to like the cheerleading squads that were shared between teams, seasonal coaches, which is something that the XFL has already adopted now. And it's, to me, that the USFL is going to gain more of a marketing presence, because the XFL was very good about their marketing, was very good about their brand presentation. And they did a lot of extra, like for instance, Player 54 and all these different other shows that they had out there that the USFL didn't really have similar amount of extra information coming out like that.
When you look at both of these leagues and how they operated, the USFL operated in the home cities of the teams. The XFL did. The USFL operated with hubs. Which is more advantageous given this merger, should it happen in 2024, and I believe that it will? Which of the two situations would work best for this gigantic league?
For me personally, I'm looking at a similar situation for okay, let me back up a little bit. If this was me, I would use the XFL hub model from last season.
Okay.
And basically, for anybody who's not aware, the XFL up to game day was all in Arlington. Every single team, they all hubbed in Arlington. So a lot of that cut on cost in terms of not necessarily needing to buy or rent 8 different practice facilities. Not necessarily needing 8 different teams worth of equipment, because you can rotate practice schedule to where each team gets the equipment, but they're all using the same equipment in terms of workout equipment, stuff like that. So a lot of that stuff was cutting costs as well. Although it didn't do it to the amount the USFL did in season 1, it also was cutting costs. But I would also do that because then you actually play in the stadium. And yes, there's a lot of travel because every home game for every team involves travel at that point. But overall, it was still a cheaper model than putting every team in individual cities. Now, what the reports are is that from Mike Mitchell, XFL News Hub, USFL News Hub, by the way, that there will be 6 hub cities, which would lead me to believe there will be 12 teams. And you can kind of venture a guess onto what those cities would be and where those teams would be located in terms of that. But basically right now, there's not a whole lot of information out about how this actually falls. So we don't know what cities are on the chopping block per se. If it is only 6, we don't know what teams would room together, so to speak. So there's a lot that still hasn't been answered. And to be quite honest, to avoid myself diving in on all the misinformation that's going around, I truly am taking a wait and see approach here, because I want to reserve judgment until I know the facts. And a lot of this is more speculation than facts, although it is widely speculated by some of the best sources on both sides.
Very good call. Very good call. wait for all the facts to come out. Speaking of facts, there's this. There's the return of the Albany Firebirds. That was announced earlier this week. I know Ryan McCarthy is over the moon happy. He'll join me on the pregame show on Sunday to talk about that. Let me have your thoughts about the return of the Albany Firebirds.
This is a win for both the Albany as a city and the AFL. Let me be very clear that this is probably one of the strongest ownership groups that the AFL has gotten to this point. Mm-hmm. This is an ownership group that led the Albany Empire to 2 championship, most recently 21-22 in the NAL. You know, before last season when Antonio Brown came aboard and basically dismantled the team.
Yep.
This was that ownership group's team. So if you want an indication of what kind of team they're going to run, how that organization is going to look back at the Albany Empire before Antonio Brown came involved, and you will be impressed. I promise you. You know, Jeff Levac, he was previously with the Empire. He's back there. We also see Damon Ware, former assistant head coach and ultimately the interim head coach last season. He's going to be the head coach this season. Darius Prince, he's also back, plays wide receiver, DB. So it's very interesting to see them in the AFL, and then also very interesting to see them back. I mean, what a win for the Albany, the city of Albany and the fans from the Empire the past couple seasons.
How excited are you to see the Albany Firebirds back in the AFL and to see the AFL back in motion?
Well, in fact, let me go one step further and kind of explain this a little bit. But there was no indication of where the Albany Firebirds would play in 2024 up until Monday. They had previously announced that they were deciding between the IFL and the AFL. And I can tell you with great certainty that it even got to the point that the IFL voted on their entrance into the league for the 2024 season. Ultimately, it looks like they decided to go with the AFL for whatever reason. I do not know how the vote went down with the IFL. I'm not sure if they got voted in or they got denied, and that's what led to the AFL entrance. But I do know that regardless of what had happened this offseason, Albany was a target city for the AFL in 2025. So it was always going to be a market they wanted back because of the Firebirds and all the accolades that them and the Empire built up over their years in the AFL. So it was one of their very, very heavily targeted legacy cities. And we actually even heard Antonio Brown talk about it at one point. So it's possible that the Albany Empire were originally going to be that Albany team for them until the wheels fell off with Antonio Brown in ownership.
The teams in the AFL, the cities that have been announced: Austin, Texas; Boise, Idaho; Bakersfield, California; my hometown, Chicago, where you are; Denver, Colorado; the Twin Cities, St. Paul. Probably they're going to play at the Xcel Energy Center, beautiful arena; Lake Charles, Louisiana; Cincinnati; Orlando; Salem, Oregon. Might have to make a trip out there; Philadelphia; St. Louis; Tallahassee, Florida; Nashville. Remember the Nashville Cats? They're going to Everett, Washington, and Odessa, Texas. And now the return of the Albany Firebirds. What are some of the team nicknames that or cities, including yours, that you're looking forward to seeing again? What are some team nicknames that you hope come back?
Well, before I get into that real quick, let me tack on the other city names that were not listed. That original announcement that you just read off was the initial 16 cities they announced. What happened was once teams that were already existing started hearing the business model of the AFL, they wanted to jump aboard. So Billings Outlaws from the Champions Indoor Football League has joined the league. The entire remaining teams from the Champions Indoor Football League ended up joining the AFL. So you got the Rapid City Marshals, you got the Salina Liberty, you got the ICT Regulators, which are going to be playing in Wichita, Kansas, and then you got the Southwest Kansas Storm. On top of that, Albany was not an original city that they involved. So there's a potential that we see as many as 20 22 teams in this league in 2024, although I would guess it's probably 20 teams.
Yeah.
That's what the commissioner has said out loud, 5 divisions, 4 teams apiece. And then we also got the news that Mike McCoy, the owner of the Wichita Regulators, will be deputy commissioner overseeing the Midwest division. In terms of teams that I'm excited to see come back, I mean, top of my list is Denver, Colorado. One of the big reasons I'm a huge fan of arena football is I got to see an AFL game back in 2005, and that was in the middle of the heyday for the Colorado Crush. That's when John Elway, Stan Kroenke, Pat Bowlen owned the team. Damian Harrell was the quarterback, and I can't tell you how electric that atmosphere was in the Pepsi Center, and it changed my view on the game. And I've been a fan since. I cannot wait to go to another arena football game, hopefully in Colorado, or not hopefully in Colorado, hopefully at the Pepsi Center again, although I don't believe that's ultimately going to be the arena they play in. We'll see where they end up. But ultimately, I'm super excited to get alternative football back in Colorado. It's something that I follow very closely, and I haven't had a team since 2017. So it'll be 7 seasons in 2024, and we might have 2 teams. We got another team in the National Arena League as well. So I'm also excited to see the return of the Philadelphia Soul.
Yes.
Which that's going to be incredibly interesting to see. I can tell you from what I've heard, it's not the same ownership group that it was in the previous iteration. A lot of these groups are new, but I have heard that there's a possibility that Jaws is involved as a consultant of some sort. So what capacity that ends up being, I'm not sure, but he was involved in the ownership group of the original Soul back in the day.
Jaws, a.k.a. Ron Jaworski, Philadelphia Eagles legend. And speaking of the Eagles, we got this. The Eagles and the Rams, Sunday, 4:05 is your kickoff time from SoFi Stadium. I know you've been waiting to dive into this, as have I, so let's dive into it. This is our BetUS.com game preview with Sam Shady from the Shady Sports Network. Philadelphia's 4-0. True. Rams have played hard every game. True. But if there's a deficiency for Philadelphia, the way it looks right now, it has to be on defense, because the last couple of games, the Eagles have been very shaky defensively, even though they've won, including last Sunday against the Redskins.
Yeah, 100% correct. I mean, we haven't really got as much pressure on the quarterback as I would have liked to see. I mean, we've invested very heavily on that defensive line, and then also that strong side linebacker position that Hassan Reddick plays. You want to see those guys producing a pass rush. You want to see them in that quarterback's face all game long, and we just haven't seen that yet this season. And then on top of that, the injury situation has just sapped us of all talent at that nickel spot. It got so bad that James Bradbury, which is primarily an outside cornerback, has been playing inside at the nickel, while Josh Jobe was playing outside. If you listen to Snowman in the morning regularly, I guarantee you heard Cool McCain talk about that earlier in the week.
Yep, he did. He did.
He's not a fan of Josh Jobe at all, and there's a good reason why, because Josh Jobe is trash, as Cole would say.
Yep.
So luckily we went out and signed Bradley Roby, former Saint, former Bronco. He basically plays solely in the slot. He's been a great slot defender at one point, helped the Broncos win a Super Bowl back in the day, but I'm not sure if he'll play this weekend. So that slot defender position has to get figured out. If he's not playing this weekend, maybe we put Sidney Brown back down in there. But realistically, we cannot continue to give up the yards that we have due to these injury situations. I mean, we had tremendous depth before the season. Now we're scrambling to bring guys in, and it's crazy to see how quickly that's happened, despite the fact that we're 4-0.
4:05 is your kickoff time from SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. And the other thing that worries me about the Eagles, and if y'all have listened to me here on Snowman in the Morning and to Sam and to others I've had on talking about this with the Philadelphia Eagles, despite them being 4-0, I have 3 words for you. And we talked about this at the top of the season. We talked about this in our season preview, Sam. 3 simple words: red zone offense. And I tack on 3 or lack thereof.
Yeah, it's a good thing we have a really good kicker so far this season because at least we know that if we get near the end zone, we're going to score one way or another. You know, the drive's going to end with a kick. So ultimately, we've been very lucky to have Jake Elliott. But, yeah, something's lacking on this offense. And I don't want to point all the blame at Brian Johnson, the offensive coordinator, who's a first-time NFL play caller. But I still think he's working out a lot of bugs. He just doesn't quite have it yet. I think he'll get there. I really do. I believe in him. I knew that at some point this guy was going to be an NFL offensive coordinator due to what he's done working with Jalen Hurts. I mean, he's been Hurts' quarterback coach since we brought him in, basically, and he's worked wonders with him. So, you know, what better can you have as a resume for the Eagles offensive coordinator? But, man, things have got to get better quick. And I don't know if it involves Nick Sirianni stepping in and taking more of a role or what have you. But, I mean, we have a very talented and experienced offensive staff. Some of these things just shouldn't be happening. Red zone offense with a guy like Jalen Hurts at quarterback should be one of your biggest strengths, especially when you got Rashad Penny in the backfield now. That was one of the things that I harped on all last season. We didn't have a bigger back. We were focused on Jalen Hurts being that goal line runner. When now we've got a guy like that. Use him. Get him in the game. Like, where is he at? I don't understand that. You see Kenneth Gainwell, who's like 190 pounds at the goal line quite often, which drives me nuts every time I see it. But other than that, I really think that a lot of our problems are getting blown out of proportion because we're Eagles fans. And at the end of the day, we're not going to be happy until we hoist the Lombardi Trophy again, and that's the standard that's in Philly. Quite simply, that's what Howie Roseman and Andy Reid and Nick Sirianni and Doug Peterson and all these different coaches we've had here have built the culture into. So you love those expectations as an Eagles player, I assume, but man, you gotta step up because I mean, yeah, we're still winning games, but we've been playing some cupcake opponents so far. Washington gave us everything we could handle and then some. And it's time that we buckle up because the Rams are a good team. You know, we got to play the Bills soon. They're a really good team. You know, we got the Cowboys twice still. We always play our division hard, so I expect the Giants games to be difficult. Washington one more time. So that's a lot of tough games to come.
And then week 13, you got to see the San Francisco 49ers in South Philly. That's a Sunday night game. And I got to tell you something, Sam. We talked about this last year before the NFC Championship. When you posed the perfect question on this program when we did our NFC title game preview, how healthy can the 49ers be going into that game? We're talking about last January in South Philly. Well, that question is looming very, very large against the Eagles as we charge toward that Week 13 blockbuster in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean, quite honestly, the best team in the NFC right now, hands down, no questions asked, and this is from an Eagles fan, is the 49ers. To be completely honest, I knew they would be good, but I didn't know that they would roll like they have. I mean, Christian McCaffrey has looked unreal this season so far.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy's playing better than ever. He looks like he's just continuing to progress as a quarterback, and he's only going to get better from here. He's very young still. So, man, I commend the 49ers front office because I told you, and you were skeptical the second I said it too, but I fully expected Trey Lance to get an opportunity to start this season.
Yeah, I didn't feel it. When you said that right here, and we talked off the air about it, I didn't feel it. And the reason I didn't feel it, well, besides Brock Purdy playing out of his mind and Jimmy Garoppolo playing out of his mind, Trey Lance did not fit that offensive scheme. It wasn't a carbon copy of what he had at North Dakota State. It just didn't fit him. You
know what's ironic about this is I think that it's almost the identical situation that we saw with Washington and Robert Griffin III when Mike Shanahan was the head coach there and Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator. Because to me, that was Kyle Shanahan trying to take that Shanahan offense to the next level, the level that it got to with John Elway when he could be, he was one of the most mobile quarterbacks in the league at that point, which granted, his mobility compared to today's mobility, night and day type thing there. But, I really think that's what they keep trying to do. They're trying to swing for the fences with these above average athletic quarterbacks to try and take that offense that's always been solid, regardless of how you run it, to the next level. And I think I like that. I commend them for trying that. But then what's more important is that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan recognized when they made a mistake and moved on. That's a hallmark of a good GM. The guy who does not get hung up on players and what was invested in them. And when he realizes the time has come, he moves on and he moves forward with the players that he's got. And that's exactly what the 49ers did. And honestly, I did not expect it. I didn't expect it because of how much they invested to get Trey Lance. And honestly, it was impressive to see. Like I said, that's a hallmark of a good team. And I knew they were a good team, but I figured they would at least give him one more shot. And they didn't. They moved forward knowing Purdy's their guy. And Purdy's a great fit for this offense, so why not?
And how out of his mind has Purdy been this year for San Francisco? We're not surprised.
I mean, it's realistically, he looks like he's taken a large leap. He looks extremely comfortable in the offense, which we all expected was going to get better. Obviously, last season he was kind of thrown into the fire as a rookie. But the scary part is, he's just really getting started. And I mean, truly, he hasn't even started a full season's worth of games yet. So it's not like he's like some of these other second-year quarterbacks. In fact, it's going to be like, I want to say mid-season before he even hits that amount of starts. So the fact that he's this far along is a testament to Kyle Shanahan and that 49ers offensive staff. But it's also a testament to Brock Purdy and how hard he works, because keep in mind, this guy didn't have an offseason, basically. He was recovering the whole offseason from elbow surgery on his throwing elbow. So, I mean, see this much of a leap when he couldn't even take the reps in practice, just shows how hard this guy's working off the field. And sometimes that off-the-field mental side of the game will make an average athletic ability quarterback, which no knock on Brock Purdy, but he's not somebody who's going to wow you as an athlete. It takes him to the next level, much like a Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning was always noted for his offensive mind, how he understood what a defense wanted to do long before the snap. And I have a great feeling that Brock Purdy is not only going to be good, he's going to be good for a long time because of that. The mental side of the game seems to come natural to him.
And that is the scariest thing. If you are a team that is facing the 49ers this year, NFC or AFC, what you have to be absolutely frightened about, and we touched on this briefly during the offseason when the speculation was absolutely rampant about will Trey Lance finally be given his chance as a starter. I said on this show all summer that the offense goes through Brock Purdy. And except for you and a couple of others, no one believed me.
I mean, yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, to be completely honest, like I said before, I even had my doubts about it. I honestly thought that they would give Lance one more shot. And like I said, identifying who needs to move on and who's your guy at quarterback is sometimes more important than having the perfect quarterback for your system. Because if you open up the door to quarterback controversy, a lot of times that's going to destroy your team from the top to bottom. And it's never been any question of who is going to start basically in that organization, obviously, because they came out and said long before the season even began that Sam Darnold was their number 2.
Yes.
So they clearly had no question in their mind who the starter was, because they didn't come out and announce the starter. They came out and announced the backup.
Yes.
So to me, that was like that was a sign of what they had thought all along. So I think they came into this offseason, in hindsight, I think they came into this offseason knowing Trey Lance is going to go unless he completely, lights the world on fire, and he didn't. He looked just as bad as he did last year, so they had to move on. It was time.
It was indeed time. Sam Shady of the Shady Sports Network with your Shady Football Friday report, presented by Invader Coffee, a proud sponsor of Snowman in the Morning. Sam, always a pleasure, my brother. I love you very, very much. I can't wait to talk to you in 7 days.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And real quick, I just want to shout this out here. If you are a fan of the AFL, the Arena Football League, this upcoming Saturday, as in tomorrow, at 3 p.m. Eastern, we'll be talking to the head coach from the Billings Outlaws. We will be discussing a lot of very intimate details from the league that I didn't necessarily cover here today. Some of it's public knowledge, some of it is not. So I highly recommend that you tune in, because just keep in mind that Coach Walker was the head coach of the team that was first announced with the AFL. So if anybody knows what's going on, it's this man. So definitely want to come in and pop in and check out what he has to say. It'll be hosted by Steve Foster, our great host that runs the Billings Outlaw show. So definitely tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, Shady Sports Network.
Can't wait to see it. I will definitely be checking in. Thank you, Sam. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Have a great weekend, Brian.
All right, how about some breaking news? Chase Claypool is gone from the Chicago Bears. He is being traded to Miami for with a 2025 7th round pick, which basically says Chase Claypool ain't worth a damn thing. Oops. All right, enough of that. We're at the top of the second hour. While you were watching that interview, I ran into some technical difficulties. They have since been solved. So we're going to push right ahead and get to this man. This Sunday night, the Dallas Cowboys return to the scene of the crime in Santa Clara and take on the San Francisco 49ers. The gentleman you see is a Cowboy fan and our Cowboy insider, Mr. Ben Sutterth the third. He joins me right now. Ben, how are you, my man?
Hey, man, doing great. Ready for this game coming up. Hopefully the Cowboys redeem themselves. I know you would hope otherwise, but man, they got to get this monkey off their back. This is basically like a Steve Young type moment. Get that monkey off your back right now.
So, of course, Ben pays me homage with the Steve Young reference. Of course, that was from 1994 when he said someone take the monkey off my back after they won the Super Bowl. Let's dive in and let's look at the Cowboys side first. They're coming off of a big win against New England, 38-3. But when you peel the onion back a little bit further, you think, okay, on the outside, they won 38-3. But A, you're still feeling the sting of the loss to the Arizona Cardinals. And B, it's a question that has to be asked. Who have the Cowboys beaten this year? Have they beaten anybody legitimate? Those are two things you really have to look at if you're a Cowboy fan.
Yeah, that's a real legit question that I think all Cowboys fans have to answer, because playing the Giants, obviously we know what they're made of.
Right.
They're at the bottom tier of the NFCs. You look at the Jets, they lost Aaron Rodgers. So at that point, you should beat them. You play the Cardinals with a backup who hasn't really started a large majority of games, and you look bad. You just flat out look bad in that game. And then you end up playing this game last week. Let's all be honest, Mac Jones is not it. I think Belichick knows that, and everybody else in New England knows that. So Yeah, this matchup right here, I think, is really their first tough matchup of the year. The rest of them were, average games. I guess you could call it in college football like they have week 0. That was week 0 and week 1. Those types of games. This is the big boy. You're playing in the big boy with the big boy playground when it comes to the 49ers.
Okay, this is it. This is when the season starts, and a lot of people say this is when the season starts for both teams. I disagree. This is when the season starts for Dallas because, again, we just talked about a moment ago. Who have they played? Now, people want to make the same argument for San Francisco, but you got to remember, this is a team in the 49ers that are 3rd in the league in scoring at 31.5 points per game. Since Brock Purdy has taken over, and we'll get to Brock in a little bit, since Brock Purdy has taken over, except for the playoff game against the Cowboys and, of course, the NFC Championship against the Eagles where he got injured, this team has been humming at a 33.5 point per game clip. Brock Purdy just does not make mistakes, unlike Dak Prescott, and we've got to get to Prescott because people want to put him in this bubble saying, okay, Prescott, this is the game where you're going to get good. I hate to say this, and I know I'm talking to a legit Cowboy fan who looks at everything, but since about year 2 or year 3, what has Dak Prescott done to lead the Cowboy offense?
Yeah, and I would say he's a good leader. I don't think he is a good quarterback in the playoffs. I think the regular season, he is money. Besides last year with the interceptions, but regular season he's money. I think it's that next level that all players have to go to, and all players need to go to if they want to win on the highest level, and that's what he has not been able to do. But I think if you want to kind of go into the comparison, I think Dak obviously has more experience, but the system that Purdy is in is top notch, and I don't think there's any team in the league that has that great of a system. Honestly, I think you can plug any quarterback in there. Maybe not like a Matt Jones guy, but if you have the tangibles and you fit well in that team, which they do a great job at drafting. We've talked about Lynch numerous times. So that this team is so well built that they could beat anybody.
Let's talk Brock Purdy. So far, he's thrown for 1,019 yards. His quarterback rating, and I can't believe I'm going to say this aloud, his quarterback rating is a ridiculous 115.1. He's averaging 9 yards of completion. And the most important stat is a goose egg because he hasn't thrown any interceptions. If there's one thing you, I, Cole, and many, many others in this crew have said about Brock Purdy since he's taken over as quarterback of the 49ers, he does not make any mistakes.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree with that. I think the only stat probably that is fumbles. I know he's fumbled a couple of times and lost a couple of fumbles, but I think, and that's where the Cowboys have to, they want to win this game. You have to get at Brock. You're going to need some fumbles. You're going to need some turnovers because if we're honest, Cowboys fans, that's how you won the majority of these games. It wasn't on Dak Prescott's arm or even on the running game. It was those turnovers that you got, which really kind of propelled and benefited the offense. And that's when you're able to do more, is when you get those turnovers and you got your defense on the field, getting tired. So,
and about these 49ers, about this 49er running attack, let's focus there for a moment. About this 49er running attack, they signed Christian McCaffrey. It's like taking their offense that was already top notch, even with Garoppolo as their leader. You're already taking a running game that was top 5 in the NFL, no matter who you plug in the running back position, and you plug in Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, it really didn't get any better than that, and he's leading the league right now.
Yes,
in rushing yards, a little under 100 more yards than anybody else. So if that doesn't tell you anything about this guy, and then if you look at touchdowns, He's tied for first with Mozart, who, guess what, used to play for the 49ers and now is over there with McDaniel. So
yep,
I think and some of that is respect to McDaniel and what he did, during his time with the 49ers. And I think I'm not sure who the OC is now, but I'm sure that was kind of left over to that OC as well. So
yeah. Well, the OC right now is Kyle Shanahan, who his dad, Mike Shanahan, tweaked and improved the West Coast offense. Mike Holmgren, of course, was the first great OC that San Francisco had during their time of the 80s.
Right.
And of course, the West Coast offense was invented by the godfather, the late great Bill Walsh.
Right.
And every team in the NFL now has a version of the West Coast offense. And every team that has run a version of the West Coast offense, whether you do it for 60 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever, you have to remember it's predicated on running the football. This is where the 49ers have a huge advantage coming into Sunday night, because not only do they want to beat you, not only do they want to embarrass you, but by running the football down your throat, they want to punish you.
Yeah, they want to pummel you. Yeah,
they want that. Thank you. You used the correct word. They want to punish you and they want to pummel you. And even though Purdy has been sacked 7 times so far, coming into this game, the 49ers want to beat you up.
Yeah, they want to beat you down, and not just on offense, but also on defense. And the defense speaks for itself, and I think that goes back to John Lynch being a defensive player and one of the best safeties ever. That is his definite strong suit. So yeah, this is not going to be, obviously it's not going to be a walk in the park. Any Cowboys fan thinking that is delusional. If you haven't watched the past games, you're drinking the Kool-Aid. So
they're drinking a lot of the Kool-Aid, and it's spiked right now.
Right.
It's truly spiked. It's truly spiked right now, and it's like, okay, are y'all watching the same games that we are when we break these down? Because when you join me on the show and we talk Cowboys, I get so many questions, and I know you do too. Like, why are you saying this about the Cowboys? Have you watched the games?
Yeah. Have you watched it? Do you realize that tight end is still an issue? Cowboys fans don't really want to admit that. I mean, you had Schultz last year. Schultz was that security blanket. The tight ends we have now, they're not bad. They just number one, drop balls. Number two, when it comes to being that security blanket, I don't know if Dak really has it right now. Maybe it's CD, but that is something that they definitely have to continue to build on throughout the season, because you're going to need those guys definitely throughout the season as the season goes along.
Ben Sutter joining us here on the program. Thank you for joining us. You mentioned the key position, the one of the biggest difference offensively between the Cowboys and the 49ers. That's tight end.
Yeah.
We don't know who the Cowboys tight end is. Who's going to be, how you call it, that security blanket.
Yeah.
We already know who's the tight end guy for San Francisco. That's George the Animal Kittle. If you need a catch of any sort, all you got to do is look for number 85.
Yeah, and a prime example was in that playoff game. A pass that he should not have caught. He should not have caught that pass. That should have been dropped. I think that was on a 3rd down. That should have been dropped, and we should have been able to move on.
Yep.
But no, he ended up catching that pass, and that was, and part of that was on Diggs. Can't let him get out of that. A lot of that out of that situation, because that was a horrible attempt at a tackle.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Kittle is that's a major advantage for you guys, and I don't know who we have really to shadow him or guard him. I mean, normally Jerron Kearse is normally the one that's kind of playing against tight ends, but he's not big. He's not big enough. He's probably fast enough to catch up with him, but that's going to be a tough matchup that the Cowboys better be practicing right now.
Oh man, George Kittle in his 7th year out of Iowa for the 49ers. Let's think about that catch. Let's take a look back at that catch. The play was not supposed to go to Kittle at all. Of course, we're in the third quarter divisional playoffs in Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. Kittle was not even part of the route.
Right.
Okay, Greg Olsen said it best during the Fox broadcast. Kittle was not even a part of the route. Right. Kittle was a blocker for that game, but kudos to the Cowboys defense on the back end. Nobody came open. So in a scramble drill, Kittle put his hand up and took off.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys are trying to keep up with him. Purdy throws the ball back across his chest, and Kittle gets a hand on it. Here comes Trayvon Diggs to try to lead with the shoulder. Not only does Kittle catch the ball, he sees Diggs out of the corner of his eye, ducks him, gets out of the way, picks up 5 more yards. That, as you said, that should have been an incompletion. The best case scenario for the Cowboys should have been an incompletion, because that was the first down play.
Right.
Not only did it turn out to be a catch, it turned out, instead of it being only 20 yards, it turned out to be 33 yards, and it continued to drive, and it turned into a touchdown at the top of the fourth quarter. How big was that play for San Francisco against the Cowboys? And
that was huge.
How much is it sticking in the Cowboys' mind coming into this matchup on Sunday night?
Yeah, it 100% affected them. And how much it affected them, Leighton Vander Esch, linebacker for the Cowboys, they asked him about it. He said, I've had that circled since last year. So that affected them. That killed the momentum, whatever that they had. Being it wasn't at home, they didn't have much.
Right.
So that killed it. I think that was the stab or the stake in the heart, if you will. So yeah, they're replaying all of those plays in their head. That last play with with Zeke, they're replaying that. I'm sure McCarthy's replaying that. I mean, there's a lot of nightmares, man. There's a lot of nightmares that they have had since that game. And it's understandable, but I think that's what should make you great. If you talk about a lot of the great ones, we talk about the Kobe's of the world, and we talk about the Tom Brady's of the world, and all of those guys, Michael Jordan for sure. They hold that stuff as a grudge, and that propels them to play better the next time and to just destroy you. So that's hopefully that's what their mindset is, because in my opinion, if you lose this game, it's just like last year. I mean, it's gonna peel that Band-Aid off again, and then you end up playing the Chargers the week after that. So this is it's a statement game. I'm gonna say it's a must win. I know it's early in the season, but I think for the confidence and for everything, it's a must win game.
Sorry. All kinds of technical stuff going on here. Cole disappeared. Where'd you go, man? Technical difficulties. You gotta love it. You can see the entire interview I did with Ben Sutterth on our YouTube page, and you will also see this game preview in its entirety on Sunday morning when we kick off that NFL pregame show. Let's take a couple minutes, and when we come back, we will have the picks. I promise you we'll have the picks. Hour 2 continues after this.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze god.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crayon they get, they palm it and do 2 circles, and that translates to I can beat up black people.
As he takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, No, Pacific Time Zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Oh, I'm sorry. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel. Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Pick'ems. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
What time it is? It's time for us to make our picks for week 5. Of course, Cole Johnson is in studio with me, and we got Mike Debate on the Invader Coffee Hotline. What's up, Mike? How are you, my friend?
Doing well, Brian, Cole. Always an honor to join you. Great to be here, and looking forward to making some picks. It's going to be a fun week 5.
It is going to be a fun week. Let's do it. Let's just dive in and let's make our picks right now. Of course, these picks are brought to you by BetUS.com. BetUS.com, where the game begins. We're going to start in the early games, not the early game, because that will require us to get up early. Let's start at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. The Tennessee Titans taking on the Indianapolis Colts. The Titans are favored by 2. And as I go to Mike first, my question is why?
I share your sentiment on that. I mean, look, the Titans impressed everybody by beating the Bengals last week. There's no question. The defense is playing pretty well. The Titans face, I think, a difficult task in trying to slow down Anthony Richardson. And I think at this point, the Colts right now are looking to bounce back. I think they want to show people that they're involved in this race, and they're not simply a team that kind of showed a little something early on and is not capable of following through. I'm actually going to go against the grain on this. I like the Colts in this matchup. I just think they're ripe for the upset, and I think Tennessee can be had if you have the proper game plan again.
This division is right for the taking for the Indianapolis Colts. As strange as that sounds, and that wasn't my pick at the top of the year, I can admit that aloud. And I can also admit aloud, I was wrong about Anthony Richardson. As comedian Ron White says best, that's profiling, and profiling is wrong. I was dead wrong about Anthony Richardson. He's got this Colts offense right on the verge. Now they just have to get a running game and finish teams in regulation, because they should have snatched that game against the Los Angeles Rams. I, too, am going against the grain. I'm going with the Colts. Tennessee's favored by 2. Give me those points. I'm calling for the Colts and calling for the straight-up win. Cole?
Well, the reason why Tennessee is favored, Indianapolis is 0-2 at home for the 2023 season.
Right.
And I don't think I'm as high on Anthony Richardson as most, because in that previous game, he didn't even complete 50% of his completions. What makes him is the fact that he does have the legs and he does have the ability to scramble. The same can be said about Ryan Tannehill, the opposing quarterback for the Titans. Now, the analyst hat in me says I should go with the Colts, because I think the Titans are going to pretty much stink up the joint. But my true prediction, since the AFC South is ripe for the Colts, the Titans, the Jaguars, and the Texans to take, since all of them are 2-2.
True.
I predict it's going to be the first tie of 2023.
You know, I don't like you for that pick, but I see nothing that could say otherwise with these two teams. Let's go on. We'll go to Pittsburgh. 1 p.m. kickoff. Baltimore and Pittsburgh from Heinz Field. I know it's called something else, but I'm staying old school. It's Heinz Field. Baltimore's favored by 4. I will lay all those points as the Ravens will lay the Steelers to waste. Let's go to Cole.
To my former manager, it is now called Acrisure Stadium. Yes. She also does not like Acrisure Stadium name. She always calls it Heinz, and she says it's Heinz, it always be Heinz. So I'm like, no. Well, it's Acrisure now because Heinz didn't pay the bill. But that's besides the point. The Steelers have a problem. Their offense just can't generate jack.
Nothing.
And you know, whatever Matt Canada thinks he is doing, the offense coordinator for the Steelers, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I don't know how he sold Mike Tomlin on actually getting the job. Because that offense, the best they have been in the 3 years since he has been offensive coordinator, if I'm not mistaken, I think the best they've been is like 25th in the NFL. Right now they are circling the drain at dead last, and now they're dealing with a quarterback that's gimpy in Kenny Pickett. And even though he says that he's trying to go, I don't see it. You match that with an overworked defense because TJ Watt is putting in work.
That he is.
To me, even though yes, this is a physical game and it's a great rivalry, I just think the Ravens just have too much for the Steelers. So I'm gonna go with the Ravens.
Mike, do you make it unanimous? And do you lay the points at the same time?
Yeah, I make it unanimous, and I do lay the points at the same time. I think Lamar Jackson and this Ravens offense is starting to find their groove under Todd Monken. A lot of people were wondering whether or not that marriage was going to, work as well early on as it would at once they started to find their footing. And I think the Baltimore Ravens are starting to do that. But I like their matchup defensively in this, and I think there's just a little too much talent on both sides of the ball for Baltimore to come away with a loss. So I like them in this, and I think they will lay the points.
All right, we're all unanimous on that one. We're all taking Baltimore. Let's go to Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. The Houston Texans, 2 up, 2 down, take on the Atlanta Falcons. Whom do I trust more, C.J. Stroud or Desmond Ridder? I'm trusting C.J. Stroud to lay 400 on Atlanta, and Atlanta's favored by 1.5. Why? I'm calling for the Texans to get the straight up win. I will take that 1.5, and I'm calling for C.J. Stroud to lay 400 on Atlanta. Mike, what say you?
I agree with you 100%. I love what I'm seeing from C.J. Stroud, and other than wanting to see perhaps the Atlanta Falcons bounce back, and thinking that this is the game to do it. I just do not trust Desmond Ridder in this situation, and I do trust C.J. Stroud. And I think the Texans are the better team on both sides of the ball. So, yeah, I think they'll take the straight up win this game, and I like them over the Falcons in both sides.
All right, to my Texans insider, Cole Johnson, do you make this unanimous with C.J. Stroud getting better and better and better each week that he starts under center? I love what this kid's doing.
I am utterly impressed. I mean, Stroud has exceeded my expectations. It almost is to the point where he can just simply toss picks the rest of the year, and I think I'd say he exceeded my expectations for 2023. Yes. He has done a wonderful job. The game looks like it is slow for him, and we're talking about his rookie season. Look, the Falcons, they do play better at home as it's the first 2 games of the year versus on the road where they laid eggs, where they scored 6 points against the Lions and 7 against the Jaguars. I get where people are thinking, well, okay, like you said earlier, Brian, this is probably a bounce back game for the Falcons. I don't think so. I think the Texans will have their W. I don't think that Stroud's going to throw for 400 yards against them because the defense is not so bad. The Falcons' defense is not so bad. It's just that Ridder just is not getting it done on offense. So I picked the Texans.
All right, we are unanimous with that one. Let's go to Los Angeles. The Philadelphia Eagles, the defending NFC champions, facing off against the Los Angeles Rams. It's a 4:05 kickoff from SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. Eagles laying 4.5 at SoFi Stadium. The Rams are good, but they ain't that good. I'm going with the NFC champions, and against my better judgment, I'm going to lay the points in Los Angeles. Let's go to Cole and get his thoughts.
Well, since they decided to run all over the Colts, 164 yards
Yes.
against them, this will be the week that that the Wunderkind, Sean McVay, will forget that in order to actually operate an NFL offense, you must run the ball. So I believe he will forget that. He will have Bradford. He will have Stafford. Good Lord, think about saying Bradford, my old brain. He'll have Matt Stafford toss 40, 45 passes, which will play right into the Eagles' hands. And you'll probably have a game from DeAndre Swift where he'll gain 125 yards on the ground. And I'll chip in maybe 250 in the air from Hurts. 4 is a bit low. 4.5 is a bit low. I think it's going to be a wider margin. I go Eagles.
Yeah, we're going Eagles. Mike, what say you?
Yeah, I'm going Eagles as well. Look, the Rams are 2-2. Some people may say they're overachieving. I would probably say they're playing up to snuff. It's a team with more talent than maybe we all gave it credit for heading into this season. But Philadelphia is just better on both sides of the ball. That competitive nature that they have is not going to allow them to take their foot off the accelerator. They want to stay undefeated, and I think they do it on Sunday.
Yep, we're all unanimous. We're all picking the Eagles in this one. Again, make your picks along with us. They're presented by BetUS.com. Now we got this one. Here's why I put this one here, because Ryan McCarthy's going to join us later, and he's going to offer his thoughts on this one. I called this a tank bowl, but after what I saw from Zach Wilson last Sunday night against the Chiefs, I think this is another turnaround game for Zach Wilson. I know I'm speaking way out the side of my neck, but the heck with it. They're in Mile High Stadium. Breece Hall got injured at Mile High Stadium last year. He's back in the lineup. The Jets are healthy. Denver is favored by 1. Again, my question is why? I'm taking the Jets, and I'm calling for the straight up win. Mike?
I can't believe I'm going to do this. I'm going to agree with you. Look, Denver right now is not showing me anything that would lead me to believe that this is a team that can, grab a win. I mean, last week aside, obviously, you want to talk about tank bowl, there you go. But
yes,
this one, I think you're looking at a Jets team that is starting to see that they are deeper and better than just who's under center and who's playing quarterback. So if Zach Wilson can get a little bit of confidence back, and I think he started to get that against the Chiefs the other night, that gives the Jets a puncher's chance. They can run the football, and that defense will keep them competitive. I think they're the better team than the Denver Broncos. So dare I say it? I'm picking the Jets to win, and boy, was that painful to come out of my mouth.
Totally understood. Mike's been our NFL insider for the last 7 years, and I know how much pain that had to have coming for him. Cole finishes.
I want to say that the Jets will win, and they're buoyed by a wonderful primetime performance from Zach Wilson. It's Zach Wilson. And look, I get that the Broncos are a dumpster fire too. Both teams are dumpster fires.
True. Yeah.
I don't even want to think about this game anymore. Broncos.
He's going with the Broncos. Let's go to Minnesota. The world champion Chiefs against the Minnesota Vikings. The Chiefs are favored by 4. It's a 4:25 kickoff at US Bank Stadium. Can you all hear the pain coming from Paul Allen's voice, because he has to see Patrick Mahomes and the world champion Chiefs in his house? And the Chiefs escaped the Meadowlands, and they're going to take all their anger out on the Minnesota Vikings and Kirk 2 Chainz Cousins. Cole, I go to you first.
I can hear Paul Allen lamenting, what the heck is Taylor Swift doing here? All right. Here's the funny thing about the Vikings. So the lone win that they've had, Cousins didn't even throw for 150 yards. Every single loss they've had, he's thrown for over 300. I'll put it this way. Mr. Cousins will throw for over 300 yards again.
And they're going to go down, and then they're going to go down again. Mike, do you make this unanimous?
Yeah, I make it unanimous. So look, bottom line, Minnesota's defense is run by a guy I know very well, covered him a number of years up here, know him personally and professionally, and that's Brian Flores. And Brian Flores is a great defensive mind, but the problem is his defense he had for a mobile quarterback with excellent field vision, and Patrick Mahomes is the best in the business of being able to do it. That neutralizes what Brian Flores schemes well. I think Kansas City wins, and I actually think they win this one pretty big because I just can't see Flores being able to devise a system that's going to slow down that offense, which you hit this, Brian and Cole. They're a little upset of how they looked last week. They want to reestablish their alpha status in the league, and I think they do it on Sunday afternoon.
I'm laying
100% agree.
I'm laying all those points. 4 is, as Cole said earlier in an earlier game, that's a bit low. Being favored by only 4, that's a bit low when you're playing a team that's playing for its life, because I don't see the playoffs for the Minnesota Vikings this year. Going to go in reverse order. We'll go to Monday night right now. Green Bay and Las Vegas. A tale of two teams that are trying to figure out where in the world do we stand. It's an 8:15 kickoff. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman will have to call on ESPN. Wayne Larrabee will have to call on WTMJ for Green Bay. And I don't know. Do we see Jimmy Garoppolo this game? I would love to see my Paisan, but the Raiders are coached by Josh McDaniels. That 1 point that Green Bay is laying in Las Vegas is low. I'll trust them before I trust the Raiders. I'm taking Green Bay, and I'm going to lay that 1 point and hope it's more. Cole?
Oh, my. Now we're getting to the games in Monday night that we would rather see paint dry versus the game that is being televised. The Packers come in, they cannot play a full 60 minutes, and they haven't all year thus far.
Nope. No, they haven't.
You have in the Raiders a team that is in such disarray that you're having the owner of the team in bowl cut, Mark Davis,
the bowl cut bringing himself,
chewing out the fans and say, "Give Josh a chance." They're seeing the product on the field. They understand why they aren't giving them a chance. You, sir, are the one that cannot understand it. You are slow, and you have to see that this team is full of hot garbage. And so will America on Monday night. Packers.
Mike, please make this unanimous. Please.
Well, I mean, on Monday night, look, you got Josh McDaniels, you got Jacoby Myers, you've got Brandon Bolden. I feel like I came back in time. Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, really, did I hop in Doc Brown's DeLorean or something? No, look, all kidding aside, folks. Patriots West, I guess, is the best way to put it, is simply just not putting it all together. I mean, there's talent there. I mean, Devontae Adams, obviously, that's a situation where who knows how much longer he's actually going to be a Raider. But I think Green Bay is playing better right now, and I think they're the more accomplished team on both sides of the ball. Las Vegas is still trying to find its footing under Josh, and I think it's time to start realizing that they may never do that. Green Bay takes this one. I think they're just better on both sides.
All right. And to the Sunday Night Football special, which I will have on the YouTube channel for the alternative play-by-play. Of course, you all know it well. It's the Dallas Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers laying 3.5 at Levi's Stadium. And as I have often said in this episode of the Picks, my question is why? I think San Francisco wins this one going away, taking nothing away from the Dallas Cowboy defense because they have a couple of studs on there, but they're missing one in Trayvon Diggs. And if anybody can exploit the absence of Trayvon Diggs, it's going to be Brock Purdy, Kyle Shanahan, and the 49ers. I got the 49ers, and I got them winning this one going away. Cole?
Well, actually, Brian hit his head. He's actually going to be picking the Cowboys to win this game. And if you all really believe that, unfortunately,
Got me up.
All right, seriously. The Cowboys defense is Super Bowl caliber. I said that 9 months ago. I even stand firmer on that now. That team defensively can take this squad to the Super Bowl. And I think for them this year to make the Super Bowl, they're going to have to probably do like what they did in the Sunday night opener against the Giants and actually have their defense score a couple touchdowns. And they would probably have to win this game doing that too, because that offense is pedestrian at best. And that offense is going to keep the Cowboys from getting to the Super Bowl. And here we are 3-4 months beforehand. It's going to keep them from winning games like this. Not a fan of that offense. I think they don't really know what they want to do. They don't know if they want to pound the rock with Tony Pollard. They don't know if they want to target CD Lamb 15 times a game. They don't know what they want to do offensively. That is the problem, because they're dealing with a team that knows what they want to do, how they want to do it, when they want to do it, and where they want to do it. 49ers.
Mike, how strong is this 49er team?
This 49er team is extremely strong, and Dallas is sorely mistaken if they think they're going to come in and they're going to catch what they caught last week from the New England Patriots, which was barely a cold. Look, I've watched this Cowboys team a lot over the course of the last 2 weeks, one in prep and one in post-game, and believe me, it's been painful the last few days watching highlights from that game last week. Something that the New England Patriots just could not do last week was utilize their offensive line to get the run game going. San Francisco is dynamic at doing that. Their offensive line is definitely going to be able to find the cracks, the fissures in this Dallas defense, which I agree with Cole. That's a Super Bowl caliber defense. That is an excellent defense. They essentially were one of the big reasons why the New England Patriots were so futile last week, is because they kept throwing things at them that the Patriots just do not have the talent to handle. San Francisco has the talent to handle it, and they also have the talent and the wherewithal to be able to exploit what Dallas doesn't do well, and that's block up front to defend the run. Christian McCaffrey is going to get going. It's going to allow Brock Purdy to be able to find his targets, probably looking at big gains from guys like Ayuk and getting open to find yards after the catch. And they can do that with Kyle Juszczyk, who's as good of a fullback as you'll find anywhere in the NFL. Defensively, I think San Francisco is head and shoulders above where Dallas is offensively, and I like San Francisco in this. I like them by at least a touchdown.
I have
to Mike's point. I think that is the big key right there. All you have to do is go to the Cardinals game, where the Cardinals ran for 222 yards on the ground against the Cowboys. That is where the difference is right there.
Absolutely. And I didn't see enough of an improvement in what Dallas was doing wrong against the Cardinals. It's not like they automatically fixed it against the Patriots. Right. Patriots just didn't have the ability to get the job done that Arizona did a couple of weeks ago. Their running game was dynamic. The Patriots' running game was anemic. And I don't think it really tested Dallas to fix that. That's where I think San Francisco attacks.
And then you got Christian McCaffrey, Elijah Mitchell's coming back healthy, and as Mike said, the offensive line will protect Purdy and allow the running game to open some holes, so Purdy can have a field day against this Dallas secondary. If there's a weakness in the defense, it's the secondary. I have the 49ers, and I have them going away. I'll have the alternative call of that on Sunday Night Football. Mike DeBate joins me as he does each and every week for every edition of the picks. They're brought to you by BetUS.com. BetUS.com, where the game begins. That'll take care of the picks. Cole Johnson is here with me, and we got someone waiting. Let's bring him.
Yes, let's do that right about now.
And now, the transporter to Hades, the reformer of hooker whores, and the bronze god, the one, the only, the legendary Chris Bay.
The Baseman returneth for another fantastic Friday. Salute to you, sir, and good morning.
Yes, good morning. Good morning to the Rain Man. Of course, good morning to the Mad Scientist. Good morning to Wize El Jefe. And good morning, of course, to all the boys and girls in the comment section. Good morning, boom shakalaka to you all.
Speaking of
perfect segue, because you get to greet him face to face. And now batting, the man who's trying to find new ways to curse out James Dolan before spring training, number 420, Wize El Jefe, number 420. And you're on mute,
Good morning,
sir.
man.
Good morning, sir. And you're on mute, sir.
What has James Dolan done now? Good morning, gentlemen.
No. No, James Dolan. No.
The question should be, what hasn't he done?
No, James Dolan hasn't done a thing, but you basically you were geeked up in August saying I'm not focusing on the Yankees, I'm focused on the Giants, and then after week 1, you're like, I'm looking toward the Knicks, and now I'm just preparing you for now. You thinking in your Knicks brain, okay, I know Dolan's gonna do something wonky and messed up. He's gonna make me want to think in the wintertime, I can't wait for spring training.
No, they've been good, man. He's been good the last couple of seasons. Bringing Leon has kind of he righted this ship, man. He got people. He actually got basketball people, and like he's actually doing what he did with the hockey. He's letting his hockey. He let his hockey people. Yeah, he let his hockey people do hockey, and now he's got Leon Rose and Worldwide West and all these other people on there, and so yeah, he's got basketball people now running things.
And Wize, let me salute you for Wize in the AM this morning. Had a chance to check it out. Absolutely fabulous, my man. Absolutely fabulous. Love you for that.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. You got Bass is kind of like my inspiration, man. Bass now he has a Saturday morning show, and being able to see him check whenever I can check that out. And again, I thank all three of you gentlemen because I've learned a lot from all three of you. You all have more experience than me at this, so it would be really really stupid of me not to take advantage and learn from people like you guys. Like that's if I ever want to become the caliber of what you guys are doing, I have to learn. So learning from you guys, it just makes me better.
Well, that's great because we all had to learn from somebody ourselves. So if ever I serve as an inspiration for anybody, I'm honored. So thank you, brother. Thank you. All right, Mr. Bass.
Anybody, I gotta look over both shoulders, make sure you got the right person.
Oh Lord, man.
So, but thank you, brother. That means a lot to me. Tremendously.
It does.
It means a lot. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Bass. Considering that we are on the heels of a 40-20 victory over the Commanders, and before I throw it to you, yes, Wize, you correctly predicted that the Bears are going to beat the Commanders.
I did.
Pat yourself on the back.
I did.
But we all know it. But we all know it was a spite pick because you have things against.
Man, I actually have something against
win. You have something against D. Willie.
I did. I really did think the Bears were going to win. I just felt that they had a pretty good game the week before that they lost. Like that offense started really doing something. And I know the Commanders aren't really as good as they think they are. And why not the Bears? Why not the Bears come out? And I think they're better at quarterback. I think Justin Fields is a much better quarterback than Sam Howell. The offensive line actually protected him somewhat. So Cody Kmet is stepping up. Listen, I watched games. And I see some pieces. DJ Moore is playing better. So now you're expanding the offense. They're putting up points. The Commanders aren't really that good. So I picked the Bears. I was dogging me about it too.
I did. What they smiled from New York to LA in saying it because you weren't saying it as in I actually do what my analysts have believed that the Bears will be better that night. No, you were trying to spike D. Willie.
I just broke it down for you right now.
I didn't say you don't have the ability to do it. I'm saying that it wasn't coming straight from that heart. It was coming from the heart of I want to stick it to D. Willie.
Okay, maybe a little.
Thank you. That's all I'm saying, man. I will never doubt your knowledge of anything sports wise. So on the heels of your Bears winning days, what is on your mind, sir?
First and foremost, rest in power to the great Dick Butkus. We lost him yesterday at age 80. And a Chicagoan like myself, you look at greatness over time. And here's a gentleman who able to achieve success in home state of Illinois, to go to high school at Chicago Vocational, go to University of Illinois, of course, for college, and then be drafted by the hometown Chicago Bears and just blow up the city. And no matter where he went to, whether it was high school, college, or the pros, I believe a lot of people I've talked to over time who's been in the profession of football redefined the middle linebacker position. And it's hard to come behind something like that after the years. You see people like LT and over the years, but man, when you set the bar so high, it's interesting to achieve that. Because see, again, anybody would tell you that's in the football field, man, I remember when Buckets did ... And so depending on your age range, and of course that changes over time, but for someone who, of course, is a Hall of Famer, who, again, even had a great afterlife from the standpoint of football, going into commentary and acting and comedy, stuff like that. Sometimes not too many players get the other life outside of sports. So he was able to do that. And again, as a fellow Chicagoan who lived on the South Side, can always go past CVS High School from time to time just to say, man, he went there. So it's an amazing thing. And so that was heavy in my mind. I did see some of the game. I'm glad that they won, but it still does not take care of the inner workings and problems that the Chicago Bears organization need to take care of. They have a lot of work to do, and I hope that maybe based upon this win, it will be a trajectory, but I don't think it will. I think it's a fleeting moment for the time being. And I'll go one step further. So last Sunday's game, when they played, and at the end of the game, they panned to Justin Fields on the bench, and he has his head down. And that really hurt my heart. Because again, when, and like any other situation, you put your heart into it, you put your soul and leave it out on the field, and you come up with nothing. And it just, it hurts. Like any situation, nobody wants to fail, but to see that picture of him just bothered my soul. So I hope, it just, I don't know, man. Anybody can blame everybody else. I think the offensive line still is horrible. It's a continuation of last season. And do you get rid of him now, meaning Justin Fields, and try to blow the thing all up? First of all, I'm tired of the word rebuilding. This city has embraced the word rebuilding so much, I get tired of hearing it. Whether it's for the Bears or the Bulls, everybody got to rebuild. Everybody's rebuilding this, and that's their go-to word. But in this situation, how much talent does a person have to do to get someone to just, I don't know, have a good offensive line first and foremost, so that he won't be sacked, so he won't have a lack of confidence and things of that nature. So that works my nerve, man.
Yeah, I can understand how it would. It would work mine if I were in your shoes and was a Bears fan. And speaking of that, now you were talking about the inner workings of the Bears and things of that nature. Well, of course, we just caught wind earlier this hour that Chase Claypool got traded to the Dolphins. And beforehand, you could say he voluntarily, you could say he forced the hand of the Bears organization to basically sit out and not actually be a part of the team.
Right.
So, and that came on the heels of the defensive coordinator having to resign. How was the temperature of Chicago when it comes to all of these Bears foibles that we are seeing, along with the fact that people are questioning if Matt Eberflus is the right head coach for the team and Justin Fields is the right quarterback of this team?
I think it's mixed. I outside of the diehards that are going to go all the way through, I think you just have to be practical and evaluate what you see in front of you. And what you're seeing is a dumpster fire. And so you just have to find a way to put the fire out. You don't put more gasoline on the dumpster fire. You try to find a way to extinguish it. So I think the extinguishing of this organization needs to start. And some people say, well, it needs to start with ownership. That ain't going anywhere soon. So let's drop that conversation. No, they're not. No, we can't have that conversation as far as I'm concerned. Now, as far as personnel is concerned, let's try to dissect that. I don't think Eberflus or Overfloss, whatever the hell he calls himself, is not a good coach for the Bears. I think that he just does not have the head coaching fortitude to move this team further. I don't see it in him. I don't see the fight. I don't see the bite. So he needs to be removed. You can still save this quarterback if you can, but if you're going to get rid of him now, so he won't die a slow death professionally. Some people saying may go to the Falcons in Atlanta. Maybe under that situation he can flourish. We don't know. But if you're going to take time off to, again, quote unquote, rebuild and try to give Caleb Williams out of USC to come in the draft, he made it perfectly clear. I'm going to say into the years I'm making money, on an NIL. And even if and then had to know to pick out the teams he wanted to go to.
Yep.
So I did not see the Bears on the list. So again, the power has shifted. There's a whole different era with these players coming out of college. I'll give you a list of, like I think before, I think mentioned like the Raiders and some other teams, but the Bears are not even on their hashtag. So he ain't don't want to come here. I don't blame him a bit. But again, somebody might want to come here. But again, this whole rebuilding stuff, I'm just completely, I'm spent.
I am too, and I totally understand how that is, considering that I'm a fan of the Texans, and I've been hearing the word rebuild for a minute too, so I totally get that. And yeah, and I agree with you on Justin Fields. If you're going to get him out of this situation, now's the time to do it, because I'm thinking this has David Carr written all over it, from the standpoint of this guy was supposed to be the one to give this team success. But because the offensive line was absolutely atrocious and just literally, we literally saw burials in games because the line just simply allowed Carr to get hit and sacked at will. He turned into half of the prospect that he was supposed to be. Now he eventually won a ring with the Giants, but he was a third stringer when it happened. So I don't want to see that happen to Justin Fields either, but I get the feeling it might. You have anything to ask Base Wize?
Oh no, listen. I go when I got questions for Base, I go to his show and I ask him. I love going to check out Base's show, man. Base's show. I learn a lot when I watch Base in action.
Yeah, and that will be. Yeah, and that will be tomorrow on the Chris Base channel on YouTube and on his own Facebook page. That is at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central. And if you're on the West Coast, don't bother. You can catch it on syndication.
Yeah, snore. Yeah, they call Hawks and don't even bother.
Cole, when you cut that ad and then you put the record scratch in there, and then you added the snoring sound, and then you said Pacific time zone people, just catch this on the replay, which is true, which is true with West Coast folks. That's why we changed our time to accommodate our West Coast television carrier. CSTV is now Zebo TV. They made the change effective last week. There will be some more promos with that. We got a couple minutes left, and Base, man, I just had a few moments earlier this week when I was preparing for my Sunday pregame show and just remembering the times that we would hang out at PSI Radio and all the preparation we used to do, especially on Fridays, because we did kind of the same thing. We would do our picks as well. And if there's one thing you always stress to me, and these two gentlemen, Cole and Wize, and many, many others have stressed it to me as well, is to always stay prepared. And that's not just in radio, but in life. And I can honestly say there were a few things I was not prepared for: loss of my dad, the loss of my daughter. But man, I got to tell you, Base, since I've known you since 2006, you've been one of my best friends. You've been one of my greatest colleagues. You've been there for me. You've been there for us since we bring you on each and every Friday. And I cannot tell you enough how much we appreciate you. Me personally, there are no words to say how much we appreciate you.
Well, I have words. First of all, thank you for that. I love the love. You guys are my brothers. Rain Man 2006. It's just too long to know somebody. It really is. I mean, I love you, but good night. I mean, goddamn you, love, man. That's just too long to know somebody. Are you kidding me?
Too long to know somebody?
That's too long. That's too. I usually have a cutoff point in knowing people. Like, okay, maybe 10 years of. That, no, this is just.
But you're going on 20 with. But you're going on 20 with Snowman. That's.
I must really love this mother. I mean, I must really again because I don't hang out with people like that. I mean, really,
and that's the truth. That's the truth.
Damnedest insane. One more thing before we break.
Please.
Yeah. So another unfortunate story about my next door neighbor. So again, maybe because I'm talking about them a lot, they're coming back again. So I'm getting ready to step out for a little bit, and I open the door, and there's the daughter and the hypo mutt. This mutt has to be like damn near 6 feet tall, and it's made in the lab, and it's one of those hypo mutts so you won't sneeze and things of that nature, you know, for allergies, whatever. So the hypo mutt is barking at me, which I expect to do because I'm used to the hypo mutt by now. But I nicknamed the hypo mutt Scooby Don't. Is a Scooby Don't dog.
Not Scooby Doo, Scrooby Don't.
Scooby Don't. Scooby Don't. It's a hypo mutt. I'm telling you, man.
Scooby Don't and the hyper mutt.
Hypo mutt. Hypo. I can't do no more.
In many ways, that would describe my Lucy if she wasn't attached to my hip each and every morning when we woke up. I don't know what happened, but when I met Jody, she told me about Lucy, and I had to be put through the ultimate test, which of course was Lucy, Mellow Terrier. Yeah, Lucy hopped out of the car, like jumped on my leg for a second, and started wagging her tail, and it's like she hopped in the car and says, "Okay, he's good." Yeah. And I climbed in the car, and that was 5 years ago, and since that time, she has not left my side.
well, it's different when you actually love the animal. I don't love this animal. I got no love for it whatsoever because the hypo mutt and the Scooby Don't has become enemy to me because I don't like the owner. I don't like the hypo mutt. So both of y'all I don't like. You and Scooby Don't.
He said Scooby Don't, y'all.
We could live a good existence if it wasn't for that old man bass. Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
Not a problem, dog. I can't take no more of these people. I don't have no more patience anymore. I used to be a very patient person. I think I was a monk in my former life. But right now, it shot to hell. Completely. Blue hell at that. It doesn't make any sense to behave this way. They don't look at you. They keep their heads down. It's like, good morning, and stuff like that. And it could be something psychological, but I'm tired. I'm tired. Maybe the asses beating on a daily basis. It's none of my business. But just the basic thing of I can't trust people keep their head down, don't give me eye contact. My dad always told me, God rest his soul, look somebody in the eye and say what you have to say. I'm not asking any type of question. I'm not asking what E equals MC squared is. I'm just saying good goddamn morning. That's it. That's all. You can't look at me in the eye. I can't deal with you. I'm gonna say good morning to your damn skull. Good morning. You got your head down.
Say good morning to your skull.
I'm not saying good morning to your damn skull. I'm trying to say good morning to your funky ass.
I'm not saying good morning to your skull. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
I do
keep
not.
Your head down. This is not. I mean, this is not bowing to somebody. Assalamu alaikum, salami and bacon. I'm just saying good morning. That's it. That's all. You can't give me eye contact. You can't say good morning in return. Something's wrong, doctor. Something's wrong. I'm sorry. I know we weren't all raised the same, and everybody got their way of doing, but you can't do the basics of saying hello, good morning. Then, you are all the way off. Still, you're off kilter. I'm saying.
We now have another Chris Space classic to add to the collection.
Wow.
And the collection continues to grow every single Friday.
And I did not say good morning to your skull. Oh my God.
That one right there. That one right there. I used to live in Glenview with the roommate. And Bass, had I heard you say that when I was living there, I'd have said that to him often. I don't want to say good morning in your skull, because this guy wouldn't give me any eye contact either. To the point where he wanted to get in a fight with me, and I socked him in one. I'll leave it there. I don't want to say good morning to your skull.
Help.
Oh, help, please.
Help.
Oh my gosh.
Help me. And I'm a proud man. I don't usually ask for help. But these mother hubbers next door, y'all gotta pray for me. I keep telling y'all, man. You know, next time Aaron the Boom Shaka will probably in Cook County Jail. Oh,
because you're gonna go ham on your neighbors. Oh wow!
Look, man, I'll be on my phone for 5 minutes. They only give me 5 minutes time. Let's make it quick. I'll be on my phone.
So if we see the phone and not see him in front of his microphone, folks, we already know what happened. The neighbor just pushed him one step way too far.
I don't want to go to jail, but that's gonna happen. Right? I'm telling you.
We get it. Oh man. Another classic in the Chris Bass files. Thank you, Chris Bass.
Holy smokes and Jesus. Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Bass. We love you very, very much. And we don't want to speak to any neighbor's skulls either. Thank you, brother. So much.
As always, for more of my pain, please join me tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, and the 5 a.m. people, we don't deal with them because they're calling hogs. So God bless their ministries on that. And you join me for Baseline. Go to the YouTube channel. Go to my YouTube channel, the Chris Bass channel. Check it out. Go tell 5 of your friends. And because of the economy, 18 of your enemies. Let everybody know that.
Went from 14 to 18?
More.
18.
It went from 8
We
to
went from
15 to 18.
18.
It's 18.
And the economy is probably going to make it grow even more next week. Stay tuned.
Yeah, I'll take
folks.
18 for now.
Yes, we'll take 18 for now. Stay tuned for next week, folks. Thank you, Bass, and tune in to Chris Bass tomorrow morning. Thank you, Bass. We love you. Thank you so
brothers.
much.
Have a great weekend. Take care. Peace.
All right, you too. And stop the inflation, Biden.
And now, the transporter to Hades, the reformer of hooker whores, and the bronze god, the one, the only, the legendary Chris Bass.
And before we get out of here for this weekend, I'm going to copy something that Cole did with a different picture. One quick question. Wize, have you a Cash App? If so, what's the ID?
Real Wize.
Real Wize.
Okay. Here's why I asked the question. Remember, folks, you can help stop a bronzexual today. Why? Because we need to desperately stop idiocy like this. So please donate to the church fund via Cash App, either Real Wize, host Cole Johnson, or Tall Man Dr. K50.
That's right.
So we can stop idiocy from attacking us. We now end this regularly scheduled program already in progress.
That's right.
Have a great weekend. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, they're simply not big enough. And you can help stop the bronzexual butthurt brigade today. We're out of here. See you Monday.
And remember, don't go to the rub and tug. Show some love and get rid of the bronze sexual idiocy that's pervading all throughout every single bedroom across America.
I hope your therapist is worth every dollar.
Oh, yeah, she is. Now, understand the preceding that you heard from Chris Bass is brought to you by
Got me up. Got me up.
Productions. See ya.